In 1993, a small batch of documents was quietly released from the CIA's archives. Most of them were mundane reports on Cold War logistics, but hidden among the paperwork was something that stopped historians in their tracks. It was a series of high-altitude reconnaissance photographs taken by U-2 spy planes and early KH-4 satellites. The target wasn't a Soviet nuclear silo or a secret military base. The target was a remote, ice-covered peak in Turkey, Mount Ararat. The CIA had spent millions of dollars and decades of high-risk surveillance on a single, ancient object. They officially called it the Ararat anomaly. To the rest of the world, it is known as Noah's Arkansas. But why would the world's most powerful intelligence agency be obsessed with a biblical boat? The answer isn't religious. It's technological. According to the unsealed files, the CIA wasn't looking for a wooden ship built by a desert nomad. They were looking for an artifact of other origin, a vessel that predates human civilization and contains a truth so dangerous that it was classified for over 50 years. Today, we are going to look at this story within the story. We're going to talk about the Watchers, the Giants, and the shocking possibility that Noah was never a man from Earth. Almost every culture on Earth has a story about a great flood. The Sumerians had Utnapishtim. The Hindus had Manu. The Greeks had Deucalion. Even the indigenous tribes of the Americas and the remote islanders of the Pacific share a memory of a time when the heavens burst open and the world was erased by water. But the most detailed and terrifying account doesn't come from the Bible. It comes from the Book of Enoch. For centuries, this text was suppressed, removed from the official biblical canon, and hidden away. Why? Because Enoch doesn't describe a natural disaster. He describes a cosmic war. Enoch warns of the Watchers, a group of 200 high-ranking celestial beings who descended upon Mount Hermon. These weren't angels in the sense of glowing spirits. The text described them as physical beings with advanced knowledge. They didn't just visit, they interfered. They taught humanity the arts of metallurgy, astrology, and warfare. But most importantly, they engaged in a forbidden genetic experiment. They interbred with human women. The result of this union was the Nephilim, the giants. These were not just large men. They were biological anomalies that dominated the earth, consuming its resources and corrupting the human genome. According to Enoch, the Great Flood wasn't a punishment for human sin in the way we think of it. It was a sanitization event, a global reset designed to wipe out the genetic corruption of the Watchers that we've been conditioned by Sunday school illustrations to think of Noah's Ark as a clumsy wooden boat with a house on top. But if you look at the dimensions provided in the ancient texts and compare them to the CIA's Ararat anomaly, a different picture emerges. In 1829, Dr. Friedrich Parrott became one of the first modern explorers to scale Ararat. He didn't find the Ark, but he found something strange. The local monks insisted that the vessel was not made of wood, but of a material that did not rot and could not be burned. Fast forward to 1916. During World War I, a Russian pilot named Vladimir Roskovitsky claimed to have flown over the peak and seen a massive, half-submerged structure that looked like a giant submarine. He described it as being over 400 feet long, with a sleek, metallic appearance. The CIA's interest peaked during the Cold War. In 1949, a secret mission photographed a massive object protruding from the ice at 15,500 feet. The object had a ribbed structure and appeared to be hollow. Skeptics call it a rock formation, but internal memos from the National Security Agency, NSA, suggest that the formation exhibited thermal signatures that didn't match the surrounding volcanic rock. Was the Ark a ship, or was it a seed vault, a highly advanced, self-contained biological storage unit designed to survive a planetary cataclysm? This is where the story takes its most controversial turn. In the original Hebrew texts in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the birth of Noah is described as a bizarre event. When Noah was born, his skin was so white it shone like the sun, and his eyes lit up the room. His father, Lamech, was terrified. He didn't think Noah was his son. He suspected that his wife had been visited by one of the Watchers. Lamech went to his father, Methuselah, who then went to Enoch to ask for the truth. Enoch's answer was cryptic but telling. He told Lamech that Noah was indeed his biological son, but that he was special, He was a guardian chosen by the heavens to preserve the human line. But what if Enoch was being diplomatic? Modern researchers, including those who have analyzed the unsealed files of the CIA search, suggest a more radical theory. Noah may have been a hybrid, a being created through advanced genetic engineering by a non-human intelligence. If the flood was meant to wipe out the corrupt Nephilim, then Noah was the control sample. He was the genetically pure human, or perhaps a perfect blend of human and other, designed to reboot civilization. This would explain why Noah lived for 950 years. It wasn't biblical exaggeration. It was the result of a biological blueprint that we no longer possess. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, the search for the Ark became a matter of national security. But why would the CIA care about a boat? Think about the time period. This was the age of the space race and the discovery of the first classified UFOs. The intelligence community wasn't interested in a religious relic for the sake of faith. They were looking for paleotechnology. If the Ark was built with the help of the Watchers, non-human entities, it would likely contain technology that could revolutionize energy, propulsion, and genetics. Imagine a hull material that can survive a 20,000-foot drop in temperature, or a propulsion system that could navigate a world-ending surge of water. In 1973, a billionaire named Ed Baling claimed he was taken to the site by a mysterious government handler. He described seeing a massive, black, glassy structure partially buried in a glacier. He was told to never speak of it. Shortly after, the area was declared a restricted military zone by the Turkish government at the request of the United States. The Ararat anomaly remains one of the few places on Earth that is strictly off-limits to civilian satellite photography. To this day, Google Earth images of that specific coordinate are often blurred or updated with low-resolution tiles. What are they hiding? To understand why the CIA wanted the Ark, we have to look at what the Watchers actually gave us. The Book of Enoch lists the secret arts taught by these beings. They taught humans how to make swords, metallurgy, how to use roots and plants, pharmacology, and the signs of the moon, astronomy. But there was a fourth category, the signs of the heavens. This is often interpreted as advanced mathematics and physics. If the Watchers were extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings, as many ancient astronaut theorists suggest, then the Ark wasn't just a survival vessel. It was a time capsule of forbidden knowledge. Some whistleblowers have suggested that the CIA successfully recovered artifacts from the Ararat site in the late 1980s. These weren't wood or stone. They were data storage devices or crystalline structures. If this sounds like science fiction, consider the Adam and Eve story we discussed previously. If cataclysms are cyclical, if the Earth flips every few thousand years, then the Ark is a standardized survival system used by the high intelligence to ensure that the human experiment never truly ends. If the flood was meant to destroy the giants, did it succeed? The Bible says the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also after that. This suggests that the genetic line of the Watchers survived. Some believe they survived on the Ark itself. Others suggest they had their own black site, bunkers deep within the earth, the very same tunnels we see mentioned in the secret files of Area 51 and S4. This leads us to a disturbing possibility. If the Watchers are the same entities that the US government is currently interacting with at places like S4, then the Great Flood wasn't a one-time event in the past. It was a chapter close. And according to many of these unsealed documents, we are currently approaching the end of the next chapter. The search for the Ark isn't about finding a boat. It's about finding the owner's manual for the Earth before the next reset occurs. For 50 years, the CIA kept their files on Mount Ararat under lock and key. They told us it was just a mountain. They told us the anomaly was just a shadow. But you don't send two spy planes to photograph shadows. You don't declare a mountaintop a no-fly zone because of a rock. The story of Noah and the Ark is the story of our survival. But it's also the story of our management. We are a species with amnesia, living on a planet that occasionally tries to wipe us out. And somewhere, hidden beneath the ice of a forgotten, lies the evidence that we were never alone, and that our Noah might have been the greatest classified asset in history. The Ark is still there. The Watchers are still watching, and the files are only just beginning to be unsealed. If you enjoyed this story, Help us by hitting that like button and subscribe to Unsealed Mysteries for more thrilling stories. Until next time.